So an 11-year-old kid and his dad are like millionaires today simply because they cut everyday objects in half on YouTube.
Yeah, the What's Inside channel.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And there's a former waitress who just retired her parents by making slime, like building a 6-figure monthly income out of it.
It sounds totally absurd, I know.
It really does. And okay, let's unpack this. Because the instinct for most of us is to immediately dismiss these stories as, lottery tickets.
Absolutely.
You hear about someone literally just sawing a baseball or a wasp nest in half, and it's so easy to think it's just a random glitch in the cultural matrix. But when you actually start looking at the underlying data in our sources today, you realize these aren't anomalies at all.
No, they're really not.
They're executing on a highly specific alignment of consumer psychology and algorithmic distribution. I mean, this is the new normal.
It is, and it requires a complete paradigm shift in how we view the modern economy. And really, the core mission of this deep dive is to dissect that exact shift.
Right.
We need to figure out, is building a personal brand on platforms like, Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok just some narcissistic vanity project for teenagers? Or is it an absolute non-negotiable survival mechanism for literally anyone?
From a plumber to a financial advisor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants professional freedom. I actually want you, the listener, to just pause for a second and look at your own safety net.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If your industry gets disrupted tomorrow by automation or, a macroeconomic shift, do you have leverage built on your own name? Or is your entire professional security outsourced to a corporate logo?
Man, that is the exact tension we need to explore here. Because when you look at the everyday people capitalizing on this digital revolution, you realize the traditional gatekeepers are entirely gone.
They've completely vanished.
Like, take Amy Schmidtauer from the sources. Her digital career didn't start with some massive venture capital pitch. It started because she got picked last to be a bridesmaid back in 2007.
Talk about a humble beginning.
Right. And instead of harboring resentment or whatever, she decided to just make a touching video for the bride and played it at the rehearsal dinner.
Wow.
And the whole room was in tears. Now, she worked at a law firm at the time. She didn't have like a film degree.
Yeah.
But she saw the visceral, emotional power of the medium right there.
Yeah, she saw the potential.
She recognized that distribution costs had essentially dropped to zero. So she started a side hustle editing videos, which, she eventually leveraged into a massive consulting brand.
And what she effectively did there was bypass the friction of traditional credentialing. I mean, in the past, to get a video in front of an audience, you needed a broadcasting network to validate you.
You needed permission.
Exactly. But the current landscape operates on this principle of underpriced attention. And Louis Blocka is another perfect example of this.
Oh, the art teacher.
Right. He's a high school art teacher and a fine artist. He noticed this massive consumer trend of wine and paint classes.
Which are everywhere now.
They are. And he had a teaching degree and the artistic skills, so he just held a free class at his alma mater and documented it on Instagram.
Just took out his phone and posted it.
That's it.
And the inquiries just flooded in. I mean, he went from spending $0 on traditional marketing to building a $30,000 a year side hustle.
Which is incredible.
It is. He even created a pipeline to sell his high-end personal paintings to the people taking his entry-level classes.
It makes me think of hosting a potluck dinner.
Okay, I like this. Go on.
So the mistake people make is thinking they need a Michelin star kitchen or a culinary degree to invite people over. You don't. You just have to bring a dish you genuinely care about, put it on the table, and actively build the community around it.
That analogy hits on the exact mechanism of community building. The secret to Blocka's success wasn't his formal credentials. The algorithm does not care where you went to school.
No, not at all. The algorithm cares about retention and engagement. He succeeded because he was willing to, harness a free platform, engage directly with a local community, and just fill a gap in the market.
Yeah.
He captured attention where it was cheap on a social feed and converted it into real-world equity.
But this brings up a massive psychological bottleneck for most professionals.
Which is what?
Well, the immediate reaction to seeing Amy or Louis is, well, they already had a polished skill. I have to be a recognized expert before I start putting myself out there.
Oh, yes. The expert myth.
Right. We've all been fed that incredibly toxic advice to, fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. But looking closely at the mechanics of the internet age, faking it is actually the fastest way to destroy your brand.
Absolutely.
The pivot here from the sources is profound. Document, don't create.
It is a really critical distinction. The shift from trying to create a polished masterpiece to just documenting an ongoing process completely alters the barrier to entry. It removes that paralyzing pressure of perfection.
I have to challenge this, though, just a little bit.
Go for it.
Attention is a zero-sum game, right? If I'm a total novice, let's say I'm literally on day one of learning Python, or trying to bake sourdough bread for the first time, why on earth would a consumer give me their finite attention?
That's a fair question.
I mean, they could easily click over to a masterclass taught by a billionaire or some master baker. What value am I providing if I don't actually know anything yet?
Well, that's the logical assumption, right? But it totally ignores how human psychology actually interacts with narrative.
How so?
You are suffering from what psychologists call the expert blind spot. When a master teaches a subject, they often completely forget what it feels like to struggle with the absolute basics.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. Their content can feel sterile or intimidating or just disconnected. But when you are the student actively climbing the mountain, you are relatable. By documenting your learning process, your daily failures, your frustrations, you aren't providing a polished tutorial. You are providing a narrative arc.
Ah, so it's less about the transfer of raw data and more about the shared experience.
Precisely. Humans are hardwired to engage with the story of struggle. An underdog trying, failing, and trying again creates narrative tension. And narrative tension holds attention.
Wow, yeah.
This is why retention graphs on raw, vulnerable videos often outperform highly produced corporate commercials. Furthermore, authenticity acts as the ultimate filter against a highly cynical consumer base.
Because we're all so sick of being marketed to.
Exactly. Today's audiences have been marketed to since birth. They can sniff out a fake guru in milliseconds. When you openly state, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to try, you eliminate the risk of being exposed as a fraud.
You literally can't be a fraud if you're admitting you're a beginner.
Exactly. You invite the audience to co-create the journey with you, which builds an incredibly deep, almost bulletproof loyalty.
That completely reframes the whole concept. You don't have to be the guru on the mountaintop. You can just be the companion on the trail.
I love that phrasing.
And this kind of authenticity translates into influence through a remarkably simple yet mathematically effective mechanism, which is just care.
Caring is huge.
It is. Lewis Howes from our sources is a prime example. He didn't build his massive network by spamming people with his resume.
Right.
He identified a bottleneck for influencers. He would take them out and ask, what is the biggest operational challenge you are facing right now? If they needed a copywriter, he found them one.
Just making connections.
Exactly. He provided immense upfront value without asking for a transaction. He just cared about solving their problem.
And from a purely strategic standpoint, caring creates a reciprocal debt and builds an unshakable foundation of trust. I mean, it is the longest term play you can make in business.
For sure. Or look at Andy Frisella and his fitness supplement empire.
Yeah.
He completely ignored the standard best practices of social media.
He really did.
The conventional wisdom for a visual platform like Instagram is to use highly polished photos, short captions, and optimize for quick scrolling. But Frisella did the exact opposite.
Right, the long essays.
Yes. He wrote massive, intense, deeply emotional essays in his captions. The industry told him he was destroying his reach because nobody reads long-form text on Instagram.
But the industry failed to understand the underlying algorithm.
Yeah. How did that work exactly?
Well, by writing long, compelling captions, Frisella created a pattern interrupt. When a user stopped scrolling to read a multi-paragraph essay, their dwell time on that specific post skyrockets.
Oh, because they're physically staring at the screen longer.
Exactly. The platform's algorithm reads that extended dwell time as a massive signal of high-quality content. And subsequently, it pushes that post to even more feeds. He wasn't trying to game the system with hashtags. His authentic desire to communicate deeply with his audience accidentally created an algorithmic advantage.
That is fascinating. He was optimizing for connection, and the algorithm rewarded him for retention.
If we pull back and look at the macro view, these creators aren't just selling products, they are solving problems and facilitating those aha moments.
Yeah.
Caring is quite literally the most potent retention strategy available. When your intent is pure, the audience feels the lack of friction. They drop their defenses, and that is when they convert from passive consumers into active, vocal advocates for your brand.
Which brings us to a massive logistical hurdle.
Okay, let's hear it.
Caring deeply and providing that level of value is exhausting. How does one person scale that kind of intimacy without completely burning out?
It's the bottleneck almost everyone hits.
Right. The solution lies in what the sources call the 8th essential content. specifically the mechanics of the pillar content strategy.
This is crucial.
Because it is unsustainable to wake up every day and try to invent a brand new, highly engaging concept for TikTok, and then a totally different one for LinkedIn, and then another for a newsletter.
Yeah, that's just a recipe for creative bankruptcy.
Exactly. Instead, the most successful operators engineer an ecosystem. They create one massive, long-form piece of pillar content. Let's say it's a deep dive audio interview, or a keynote speech, or an extensive weekly vlog.
Something substantial.
Right. Then, they splinter that single piece of media into dozens of micro assets. To upgrade my potluck analogy from earlier, think about roasting a massive Thanksgiving turkey.
I'm getting hungry, but go on.
So, the logistical effort goes into that one big central event, right? But you extract maximum value by using the leftovers to make turkey sandwiches the next day, turkey soup on Tuesday, and a turkey salad on Wednesday.
That's a great way to look at it. And here is where the strategy requires surgical precision. Those leftovers, that micro-content, must be completely native to the platform they are distributed on.
Oh, this is a huge point.
It's not just about cutting a 1-hour video into a 1-minute clip and blindly posting it everywhere.
Right, because if you just drop a YouTube link onto a Facebook feed, the Facebook algorithm actively suppresses it. Facebook wants users to stay on Facebook. They don't want to drive traffic to Google's video platform.
Precisely. The algorithmic penalty for non-native formatting is incredibly severe, but beyond the code, you have to respect the psychological state of the user.
What do you mean by that?
Well, native means matching the intent of the scroller. A user opening Twitter is in an information-gathering, real-time news mindset. They want snappy, text-based insights.
Right.
A user on TikTok is looking for highly engaging, vertical, narrative-driven entertainment. A user on LinkedIn is in a professional networking mindset. You can take the exact same core message from your pillar content, but you have to actively translate it into the native language and format of each specific app.
So it's the same meat, just a different recipe.
Exactly. Adapting the packaging without diluting the underlying truth is the true mark of a sophisticated digital operator.
Which means there are no shortcuts here. We really have to drop the illusion that this is easy. The reality of building this kind of leverage is pretty brutal.
It is a grind.
The individuals who are actually capturing this market share are eating dirt for a long time. We're talking about people working their 9 to 5, coming home, handling family obligations, and then sitting down at their laptop from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Night after night.
Yeah. They are manually engaging with hundreds of comments, refining their editing skills, and facing absolute crushing silence for months on end. Not to mention dealing with the inevitable wave of internet trolls.
Which is never fun.
No.
Yeah.
And the data points to 3 distinct fears that keep most people completely paralyzed. The fear of failure, the fear of wasting finite time, and the paralyzing fear of judgment from their immediate peers.
And that fear of judgment directly intersects with our own self-awareness, or lack thereof.
How so?
Because here is the harshest, most objective truth about operating in a digitized economy. The market is ruthlessly efficient. If you pour your content out into the world day after day and nobody watches and nobody engages, well, it is highly probable that your content simply isn't good enough yet.
Oh man, that is a tough pill to swallow for anyone pouring their heart into a project.
It is painful, but it is necessary data. Social media and algorithmic distribution do not change who we are. They act as a magnifying glass. They expose us.
Yeah, you can't hide.
Exactly. If your delivery is boring, the analytics will immediately expose that you are boring. If your product lacks market fit, the lack of conversion will tell you instantly. But that real-time exposure is an incredible gift.
I guess so, if you look at it right.
It's a feedback loop. It forces you to pivot, refine your hook, or drastically improve your craft. Furthermore, the market demands relentless innovation. Even if you achieve massive reach, complacency is fatal.
Right.
Consider retail giants like Macy's or Radio Shack. They built massive moats, dominated their sectors, and then they got comfortable. They stopped analyzing where consumer attention was shifting, and their empire slowly collapsed. The hustle to maintain relevance never actually stops.
It's a relentless game, for sure. But the upside is that the board is constantly expanding. Let's look at where the attention is moving next, because there is a massive, largely untapped land grab happening right now in voice-first technology.
Oh, this is fascinating stuff.
We are talking about smart speakers, Alexa skills, and personalized audio briefings. Imagine the leverage of dominating a consumer's morning routine. They are making their coffee, they ask for their daily update, and boom, there's your voice, delivering a highly targeted 1-minute piece of native audio about local real estate trends, or a quick fitness protocol.
You're right there with them.
You are literally inside their kitchen, bypassing the screen entirely.
The transition to voice is critical because it fundamentally changes how attention is consumed. Visual attention staring at a screen is a zero-sum game. You cannot safely watch a YouTube video while driving a car or cooking dinner.
At least I hope you aren't doing that.
Right. But audio allows for parallel processing. You can listen while performing other tasks. This unlocks brand new hours in the consumer's day that were previously completely inaccessible to marketers.
That's a really good point.
And because the medium relies purely on the human voice, it accelerates the development of parasocial relationships. The intimacy of audio builds trust far faster than a curated Instagram grid.
That makes perfect sense. But the projections for where this technology is heading go much further, pushing into augmented reality, virtual reality, and AI integration.
Yeah, the sci-fi stuff.
Seriously, we are looking at a predicted future where documentation isn't just a daily vlog. It's a literal, persistent camera hovering over our heads, recording and analyzing every single moment of our lives, 24/7.
That's a wild thought.
And the crazy part is, the cultural trajectory suggests we will just accept it as a normal convenience. But I have to ask you, at what point does this total frictionless documentation strip away our humanity?
That's the big fear.
Are we just engineering ourselves into speed-obsessed cyborgs, constantly performing for an algorithm and losing our capacity for genuine presence?
It is the most common existential fear regarding technological advancement. But if we analyze human history, a totally different pattern emerges. Humans invariably adapt to whatever tool offers the greatest reduction in friction.
Okay, fair.
When the telephone was commercialized, critics argued it would destroy the sanctity of face-to-face communication. When smartphones put the internet in our pockets, sociologists panicked about the loss of human connection.
True, every generation has its panic.
Exactly. But this total documentation isn't necessarily a loss of our soul. It is simply the next iteration of how we interface with each other. Imagine a near future where you can put on a VR headset and experience a pivotal moment in your grandfather's life, seeing the world exactly as he saw it, mapped by spatial AI.
Oh, wow. That would be incredible.
That isn't alienating. That is a radically deep, unprecedented form of human empathy. We are merely using these advanced tools to execute the oldest human drive in existence, to share our stories and be understood.
Yeah, and when you frame it around empathy rather than just data collection, it completely changes the perspective. The technology is just the vessel. The connection is the payload.
Beautifully said.
So, what does this ultimately mean for you, the listener? We've covered the psychology of accidental influencers, the necessity of documenting over creating, the algorithmic power of deep care, and the relentless reality of the daily grind. But the absolute most important takeaway here from our sources is about the end goal.
Right.
Putting your life on the internet isn't actually about becoming a millionaire. True wealth, as defined by the people successfully navigating this space, isn't just the accumulation of capital. True wealth is having the absolute leverage to live life entirely on your own terms.
It is the democratization of professional autonomy.
Exactly. Life is incredibly short, which is a terrifying thought, but if you are lucky, it is also incredibly long. You likely have decades of highly productive years ahead of you.
Decades.
Spending 40 years in a career that you merely tolerate, entirely dependent on a system you don't control, is the only genuine failure in this scenario.
The specific platforms we've discussed today will inevitably evolve or die. The UI will change, the algorithms will shift, and the devices will disappear into the background. But the core principles of providing genuine value, embracing raw authenticity, and outworking your own ego, those will remain the foundational currency of the future economy.
Absolutely.
Which leaves you with one final, lingering question to explore long after this deep dive ends. Think back to that prediction of the ubiquitous recording camera.
Yeah.
If an invisible lens started documenting your daily professional journey today, right now, would the story it tells 5 years from now be an inspiring documentary of someone who relentlessly adapted to build their own leverage? Or a tragedy of someone who just made excuses while the world passed them by?